Hello everyone, welcome to Lab 6.3.6 from DevNet Associate course from Cisco. In the previous lab, we built a sample application and we put it in a Docker container. In this video, we are going to continue working with the same application, sample application. We will commit this application to a GitHub and then we are going to download a Jenkins Docker image, and then we are going to configure this Jenkins framework, and then we are going also to use Jenkins to run and build this sample application, and finally we are going to use Jenkins to test and build and then create a pipeline in Jenkins. Okay, so let's get started. The first part, this is the very known one. We have to use this image in the background. The second part and the third part is about committing the application, sample application to GitHub, and then we are going to modify this application. As you will see, we will change the port number, and then we are going to push this the new modification also to GitHub. Okay, let's do part 2, which is about committing the sample application to Git. So first we need to log into GitHub and then create a new repository. The repository should be under the name is given here. Here we have the information. We have sample application, and as in the description, we need to write explore CI CD with GitHub and Jenkins, and then it's a type private, and then we create repository. So I think we need to copy this as a description. So here I am already on my GitHub account. So new, and here sample application or sample app. Here we need in the description, we just paste and then create a repository. Okay, we have this URL now. We will need it when we point the repository in GitHub to the repository in Git. So let's come here now and see, let's move to the directory. And this is the Git repository. This is my machine. This is the repository in GitHub. So let's initiate this repository. As you can see, it's initiated. Now let's type git status. We need to add these files, so git add everything, and now again git state one more time. As you can see, now we have these added. Now we need to commit these files, and then we need to push this repository to GitHub. So git commit -m, and in the description, let's say from git repo computer, or from computer to the web. I mean, from this computer committing to the web, which is here. Okay, and then we need to push from origin to master. Okay, here we missed a point here, which is a very important point, that we need to connect this web before pushing the repository. We need to connect this web to this repository, and to do this we need to follow this step here. You need to do it when you create or you connect at the first time your repository to the GitHub, which is about git remote add origin and then the URL. So let's do it. and the URL we already copied this. Let's copy it one more time. Now we can push. I give the username and also I give password. And now if I will refresh, I should see here everything is commented to GitHub. So to recap what we did here, so we have a repository which is sample application or sample app. We initiate it as a GitHub, as a Git repository, and then we put add, and then we commit, and then we push. If you are using this for the first time, so I mean if you are like connecting this repo to the GitHub, you need of course to point these together. So to do this, you need to get remote add origin. This is a point like you are connecting the repo in your machine to the hub, and this also explained here. Point Git repository to GitHub, and this is you need to do it at the first time when you initiate or you start the repository or connect it to the GitHub. Okay, so let's move forward to part 3. In the next part, I mean in part 4, we are going to install Jenkins Docker. This image uses port 8080. So if you remember here, let's see, for example, sample application or sample app.python. Here we use also port 8080, and Jenkins is going to use also port 8080. So for this reason we need to change the port here from our sample application, and because we are going to use this application with Jenkins. So let's change this port to 5050 as is given in the tutorial. And now let's save this one. And also we need to change the port number from the script bash script file, and we are going to change its hyphen, this one here, not underscore, and we are going to change the port to be also 5050. Here it also is needed. Everything is given in the tutorial. So let's match if everything is okay. So we did this. We also did this here. And we did also this here. So now let's save this port or this modification. Okay, so we did this. Now let's check if the bash is working correctly and working as expected. Let's take this one here. We're going to build the Docker image. Okay, as you can see, it's working. Let's make sure that everything is fine. So we should see you are calling me from 172.17.01. As you remember, this is the IP address of the Docker, and everything is working. And this is the IP address of the Docker. We did everything last video. This is the Docker, and this is the IP address here, which is this one. Okay, so let's close this. and Control C. So let's check if the server is still running. Yes, it's still running, so we need to stop this server. So to do this, let's check if the server like docker ps-a, and as you can see, the docker is still here. So this is the name of the docker image, and let's stop this image. And then let's remove it. Now if I'm going to make a refresh, as you can see now the docker is not running. And to make sure, let's type this, and as you can see now we don't have docker running. Okay, so what we need to do more, we need to commit, of course, this modification. If you remember, we modified the files, I mean the port number in 2 files, and now of course we need to commit these modifications to GitHub. Okay, so to do these steps, first we need to git add everything, then we need to git status, and as you can see here we have here files modified. Okay, so let's commit. Let's take the commit from the tutorial. It's quite good commit, or good message in it. And then we need, of course, to push origin to master. Okay, so if we go back here, we should see our new, as you can see here, from here we need changed again the problem that I copy paste from BTF, and here only the first was committing, so this is only considered, as you can see here. However, please be careful with this. Write it by yourself, or copy it to a text file and then copy paste it again here, because here is the PDF I'm copying this problem, so that's why here I have only changed. However, I don't think it's a big issue, so I'm not going to modify this. I'm going to keep it like change like this. Okay, so let's check this file. We should see 50-50 in it instead of 80-80. As you can see here, this is our modification or modifications. Okay, so let's return back to the tutorial and move forward to part 4. Here we need now to download and run the Jenkins Docker image. Okay, so to do this we need to use the command docker pull and then Jenkins lsc. So here is the URL, or here is the command. Now it's in one line, so everything should be fine. Okay, we are downloading now the Jenkins Docker image. Okay, so we have now downloaded the Docker image, and now we need to run this image. To start or run this image, we need to type the following command: It's quite long one, so it's recommended here, but since it's more than one line, it might happen that you will have a problem that's when copy pasted. So it's recommended here, and it's also written here somewhere that you need to copy this command or these lines into a text file and then copy paste it to the command line interface. So before I'm doing this step, let's start to understand what is here. So here we have the Docker, and then we run, we know this command, and then we have the remove. So to run, this option automatically removes the Docker container when you stop running it. So I already did this manually, but of course I will use this as well here. So -u, and here this option specifies the user. You want this Docker container to run as a root. So here the user is going to be a root. Okay, all the commands will be run under a root. If you don't use this, you need to put sudo here at the beginning. And here as P we have a port, and we mentioned that this Jenkins going to use the ports 8080. So here we are not, so we need to specify of course the port, and -v, and here we have, as you can see, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. And here we have these options: bind, mount volumes, so needed for Jenkins and Docker. So this is V, and with Docker is about volume, not about verbose. So the first V specifies where Jenkins data will be stored. So as you can see here, the Jenkins data is going to be stored in Jenkins directory. And the second one here is specifies where to get Docker so that you can run Docker inside the Docker container. So this is the second Docker. So we have the first V, which is this one, which is about Jenkins data. As you can see, there is a description after the -v. And the second V is about which Docker. And the third V is about, specifies the path of the home, of the home for home directory. This V is used with this -docker or -v which Docker, which is about using user bin Docker, which is of course going to use -v variable run Docker stock, because we are going to use Docker inside Docker. So here we can consider this is the first one, this is the second one, and this is the third one. Okay, so let's keep going, and now let's copy this to a text file and then put it in a terminal. Okay, let's do this very fast. Here we need to keep it like this. Now let's take it from here. So we have now finished downloaded the metadata. We have here the password given. So we are going to copy this password to this file here because we are going to use it. And however, if you need or if you lost this password, you can of course open your terminal and then you can reach this password through this location. Var Jenkins home secret and initial admin password, but of course you need to start the Docker image. So to do this, as you can see, we have here how to start the Docker image, and we covered this command last video. So here IT for interactive terminal, and this is the name of the Docker image, and here we need it in bin bash. So let's do this here. Again, we are copying from PDF file, so that's why we have this error. Now I think it's going to be fine. And here we have the ID of this image. Now let's reach this file or the password here. Let's use the command cat and then put the variable, and here we have this password here, which is the same like this one. Okay, so let's exit this one, just I wanted to show you. And let's keep this terminal open, perhaps we are going to use it. Okay, so what we need else, let's see what is now the structure of our machine. We have this, our operating system. I mean, I have Windows here now. Over Windows I have uh, the virtual books, and then on the virtual books I have div ASC virtual machine, as you know, this one. And then I have a Docker container. Inside the Docker container I have a Jenkins server, and inside the Jenkins server I have another Docker container. So this is the level of abstraction or virtualization what I have running on my machine now. Now let's move forward and let's configure Jenkins. So let's open this in a new tab. We have Jenkins here. Let's put the password. Let's continue. Okay, it was a problem. Let's take the password one more time here. Now let's press continue, and we should have here. We don't need this now. We need to install suggested plugin. As you can see here, we can see what's going on here. However, we will let them. Don't close this terminal. Let's wait here till the installation process is finished. And here we need to click skip and continue as admin, as it is written in the tutorial. Here don't change anything, just save and finish. We should see now a welcome screen. As you can see here, now we are in the dashboard of Jenkins. Okay, so now let's organize the screen to have two together, one by side. This is the first one here. This is the second one here. So we can follow, read and do at the same time. Okay, so first we need to configure. First step, we need to open a new browser tab, and then we did this already. Now we are in part 6, which is used on a build of your application, which we already committed to GitHub. Okay, so first we need to understand what is the situation. First one, we are going to get the code from the GitHub repository, and then we are going to build the application using script build tool, and then we are going to package an application and run it on the server. So we are going to do these 3 steps. Again, we have this application in GitHub. what we are going to do, we are going to retrieve, or we receive it to, or bring it to Jenkins, and then we are going to build the Jenkins using, of course, script, and then, or a build tool in Jenkins, and then we are going to package an application and run it on a server. Okay, so in the first step, we create a new job. Here we have a new item. So we need a name of this item. We are going to use this one. And then freestyle project. And then click OK. Now we need to configure the Jenkins to build application job. So as you can see here, you are now in a configuration window where you can enter details about your job. The tab across the top are just shortcut for a section below. Click through the tabs to explore the options you can configure for this job, or for this simple job. You only need to add a new or few configuration details. Okay, in the general tab, here we have the tabs. So in the general one, we are going to type my first job. And then click source code management. And select Git. And then you put the URL from the GitHub, which is this one here. Let's get it from GitHub. And of course, we need to put .git. Okay, we have here that invalid username and password. Let's do this by click add and select Jenkins. In the username here, we put our username from GitHub. And then we need to press add. Save it here. Then apply. Here it's okay. Now we don't have an error. From credentials we use our username and password, and then click add and then apply. And then let's move forward to build, and let's select execution or execute shell, and here we need to type bash, the name of the file. Then we type save. After selecting save, we are now here. Okay, let's see what we have to do more. We need to select build now to start the job, and then Jenkins will download your Git repository build command. Your build should succeed because you have the code since part 3 modified. So let's do this. Here you can see there is build now. As you can see here, we have got these two, and then we can return back to read more what we have to do. On the left, in the build history section, click your build number, which should be 1 unless you have built the application multiple times. So we have 1 here, so we can click this one. Let's see what we have to do more. And then we view the console output. And here we have the output here. And as you can see, finish success. And here we successfully built these two also. It's highlighted as you saw in the tutorial. So now we open another browser, tab and verify the sample application is running. And it's running now here. And you can see now you are calling me from this, and we have the message here. And now we are going to use Jenkins to test a build. Okay, so first we need to stop and remove the Docker which is already running here. So to do this, as you can see, we have, let's start a new terminal, not this one. We should let this one open. Let's use this one here. And here again it's stopped, and now let's remove it. Here if I refresh, I should have nothing. Now it's stopped, as you can see. Also you can type docker ps-i to make sure that there is no Docker images running now here. Okay, now let's remove back to the Jenkins. And the new item now, because we are going to test if the application is running correctly or not. So let's see what is the name of this test. Here we pressed a new item, and now let's give the name test IIP job, and then freestyle, and then okay at the end. Okay, so what we need here, let's see what we need more. So configure the Jenkins test application job. So here we need to have this information. And we are going to leave the source code management set to none. And from build trigger tab and check the box, we have to select build after other projects are built, and for project to watch for the name build up job. Okay, so let's do this. So we put this one here, and from here we let it none, and from here we are going to select this one, and the name was build up job. We're going to put this one here, and from the build we are going to execute shell, and here we are going to write a shell script. So let's follow this shell script here. So this is if statement in shell script. So it's starting with if and it's closed with fi. It's an opposite of if. And we are going to put this URL. As you can see, this is the URL of the server with this port. And we are grab, you are calling me from this IP address, and then exit with 0. So when we exit with 0 in shell script, it means that it's successfully done. Otherwise, if it's 1, it means that there is an error. So let's take this code from here. Let's put it here as also. Then let's click save. Then we are returning back to the dashboard. So what we have to need to do more, we have refreshed the web page, and then we are going to return back, and then you should now see your 2 jobs listed in the table. For the job build application job, click the build button on the far right. Okay, so let's refresh this. Let's return back here, and we have here both jobs, and we are click this one. Okay, so let's do these two now. Here we have, if all goes well, you should see the timestamp of the last success column update in both build application job and test code. This means that you go and test app job. This means that your code for both jobs run without error, but you can also verify this for yourself. Okay, so click the link for test app job under Prima links. Click the link for your last build and then click console output. You should see the output similar to the following. As you can see here, you are calling me from this IP, so x is 0. So we have both now running. So let's do this step as well. And here you can see it's working. And then let's move forward to part 8. And here in this part, we are going to create a pipeline in Jenkins. Okay, so in creating a pipeline in Jenkins, what does that mean? So as you could see here in the beginning, when I go to Jenkins now, and then you can see now I have 2 jobs, and of course I can click on build now this one, and then to build the job, and then I test the job, and so on. And it might happen that you will have here many processes. So I had 5 or 6, it depends how many times you run this. So in a pipeline, it means that now we can build a script, or we can configure Jenkins to run both of them at the same. At first it will be built, and then it will be tested. So here we are going in part 8 learn how to do this. Of course, why, like for your knowledge, why it's important, for it's very like important to know this, because this is the essence of continuous integration, continuous development process. The pipeline can be automated to run based on a variety of triggers, including periodically. Okay, so here to recap, we are going to build a pipeline in Jenkins to run the 2 jobs here at the same time. So first it will be build a job application job, and then test application job. Though this is a very simple pipeline. Of course, just for the purpose of explanation, you are of course you free to develop yourself on it, but the concept is to automate the process. You don't need to come here if you have like more than one item here. You click them one by one manually. You can automate them using a pipeline. Okay, so let's do this. We have to go to create a new item. First, let's take this name here, and then let's select pipeline, and then click OK. And here we need a description. Let's say here like my first pipeline. And then we have here tabs. And now let's move forward to the pipeline, and we need to enter a script here. So for this script, we have a very simple script here. We are going for 3 stages. For the first stage, we are going to prepare that we are going to make sure that the Docker is stopped and is removed. And in this case, we are going to have a success. Otherwise, if one of them is currently running, we need to stop it. And the second one, we are going to build in the second stage, we are going to build the stage. We will have this message here that we are going to build the application job. We already prepared it in the first one. And then we are going to run the test application job. So if you remember, we already tested this one. It was okay, running successfully. We already tested this one. We already also created. And now let's copy this code. In the last one, we have another one here. Okay, so what we can see here, let's check it one more time. Okay, so now let's run the sample pipeline. Let's first save this one. Let's run them back here, and we can see here we have 3. The first one is a build job, the second one is sample pipeline, and the third one is test job. Let's run this one here. So as you can see here, we have a problem with this pipeline. Let's check what was the problem. We have built application job or build app job, and we have test app job. So let's go here and let's do changes. Configure. And here is the pipeline. And as you can see here, let's make sure one more time. So the test application is the name of the test app job dot, and here in the pipeline we don't have this dot here, so let's give a try. We put dot here and save, and let's return to the dashboard. Let's refresh the page. Okay, so we are running here more than one process, so let's stop them. Let's go again, and then let's run this one more time. And now the sixth one seems fine. Let's return back to the dashboard, and now it's, you can see it's okay. So let's go here, console output here, and you can see here we have test job 6, it was okay, test okay, and let's see here what we have. For test number 6, and here we have, you can see end of the pipeline, it was successfully finished. Console output, and here we have also the same. As you can see here, end of the pipeline is success. Okay, so let's recap again what we did. Actually, we did first a build job, and then we built a test job manually. And then we created a pipeline, and this pipeline manually, when we click this one, it will first build the job, and then it will test the job by itself. So let's run it in one more time. And here we can click on this link. Let's check console output. As you can see here, built job 8. It was built successfully. Now it's testing. It's also tested successfully, and then it is end of the pipeline. It is the end of this tutorial. Thank you, and see you next video.